this computer. Again, if you have questions, let me know. It is Tuesday, May 16th. And yes, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we are to the most exciting lessons of the year, health and sex ed. And today we're starting it. I put a link to the newsletter, but some people are telling me they can't get in that way. So I think this is probably how you have to get to the newsletter. I'm going to share my screen. And I think you probably have to go through Clever. And it's actually been assigned to you, so I know you can get it in. So if you go to your Clever through your BSD website, you should be able to find one that says the Great Body Shop, this weird green looking thing here. You see that? You're going to need to click on the Great Body Shop. And your Great Body Shop is going to look different from mine. But when you get in here, there's, I don't know how your site looks, but if you go to, like, if I go to my classrooms, you guys are all in there, 21 students, there's your names. And you should be able to access the lesson through that. So if I go to my instructional plan, you can see assignments, and you guys have already had a couple of assignments where I gave you the newsletter, student issue, those crazy mixed up emotions, and growing up. And if you click on growing up, oh, this is because it's my website. It comes up like this. It's this newsletter right here. So here's the one that you should be able to get to if you go through the Great Body Shop on the BSD website and click through. You should be able to open up and get into this newsletter. Get ready to shield your eyes. The part I was talking about this morning is about to come up. Cover your eyes if you can't handle it. But let's face it, everyone is naked under their clothes, and these are just pictures of naked people. The next page has got pictures of naked people. Look at that. Oh my gosh, showing you all your body parts. And then there's some other things about pimples and maturity and hygiene and bullying. And that's the whole newsletter. If you were in person, we would have given you this newsletter. But you'll need to go through the Great Body Shop to get to it. And once you go through the Great Body Shop, you should be able to get to that newsletter, 2 newsletters. And you are to, the start of this lesson is give the kids the newsletter and just let them read through it for a few minutes. So if you'd like to try to get into Clever and try to open up the Great Body Shop and see if you can get to the newsletter, that would be great. Again, go through your BSD website, open it up the Great Body Shop, and it should be under my assignments. It should show that you have access to that particular thing. In the meantime, I'm going to read from my script. They give me a script of exactly what to say. If I can find it, here we go. So you are to preview the student issues, scan for text features, important words, and interesting facts. Try to read the graphics and understand them. Throughout this unit, we're going to be learning more. Did I start the recording? Yes, good. We're going to be learning more about how our bodies change and the different ways in which we can take care of our bodies so that we feel healthy and strong. We're also going to talk about biological similarities and differences between people who are born with male or female parts. When I use the term male during our lessons, I'm referring to people who have male parts, male anatomy, or whose sex assigned at birth is male. When I use the term female, I'm referring to people who have female parts, female anatomy, or whose sex assigned at birth is female. Maybe the term sex assigned at birth is kind of a weird new term for you. Think of it this way. When you were born, it's likely that a doctor or a midwife or another healthcare provider assigned you to be either male or female. And nowadays, my friend who's a doctor said they don't really do that anymore, that they just say people are XX or XXY. So interesting. And this was based on your body parts. This was likely put on your birth certificate, and therefore it is your sex assigned at birth. The next word we need to think about is the word puberty. So what are some things you already know about puberty? Maybe you know that it's a time in your life when your body is changing fast. You grow tall, you grow out of your clothes, your voice, for boys, their voice starts cracking and getting lower. We're going to be talking about those changes. Adolescence is the stage of growth and change that happens between childhood and adulthood. Puberty marks the beginning of this adolescence and the beginning of all these changes. It is during puberty that your reproductive system begins to function or work. You experience emotional growth and you become more responsible for yourself and others. And you also experience a lot of emotional changes really fast. As we talk about puberty, it's important to understand that not everyone starts it at the same time. So like my dad, for example, he didn't get any of puberty until after he graduated from high school. He was really slow. And they're saying now that that's actually really healthy to be slow. It just means like you're going to live longer and be healthier longer. So if your body doesn't change real fast and everybody else's are changing, you can be embarrassed about that. But the truth is, you're probably going to live longer than they do and be healthier. Nowadays, some people change really young, maybe even in second and third grade. So when you start changing, it really depends on your body and your family and what you eat. Heredity plays a role in the onset of puberty or the start of this, as well as physical characteristics. In other words, just like you inherited the genes for your eye color or your hair from your parents, you may also begin puberty around the same time they did. So you could ask your mom or dad about this. Oh, I gotta let somebody in. Okay. All right, so what causes puberty to start? Well, it's a signal from the hormones in your body. These are chemicals like messengers in your body that stimulate certain parts of your body to grow and change. It's hormones that trigger puberty. Let's see what else hormones do. So there is a passage in the story. I'm going to go into the book now, so don't giggle too much, but here we go. After this page, and if you just joined me and you couldn't open the newsletter that I had linked, you'll need to go through Clever and the Great Body Shop to get to the newsletter. And then you should be able to open up this newsletter. And on the inside, warning, there are drawings of naked people. Uh-oh, where'd they go? There they go. And at the top of this, it says hormones. Scientists are not sure how, let's see, how many hormones are, can't get it to get to the right place. Here we go. Scientists are not sure how many hormones are in everyone's body, but they do know that there is one special hormone that goes to work to make you taller, another that controls your appetite, and another that makes your hair grow. Males and females both have these hormones, but the levels of hormones are different. That's why some of the changes their bodies go through are so different. Let's see what some of those changes are. You grow taller. Your penis, scrotum, and testicles grow. Your voice gets deeper if you're born with male parts. I can't get it smaller. There we go. Your underarm, legs, chest, face, and pubic hair grow. Males should know that some males grow a lot of hair and some don't. If your father has a lot of hair, you probably will too. When your voice starts to change, it may sometimes crack. That is, it might suddenly go, Don't be embarrassed. It happens to most males. When a male reaches puberty, his body begins to make millions and millions of tiny sperm in his testicles, which are inside the scrotum. Sperm are a male's reproductive cells. If one of these sperms comes in contact with a female egg, then the egg can be fertilized. As we said, growing slows down after the first year, but the first year of puberty, there's 1 year where you grow really fast. It can be at age 11 or 14 or 15 or even 18, and that's okay. During this time, you might notice a few things. You might notice your clothes all get too small. Your shirt that fit 1 month doesn't fit the next month. This can be a total bummer. Your mom might say, I don't want to buy you any more food. You're eating too much. They might notice that you're like starving, your body hair is growing, you're like, you might even have aches in your legs and stuff because your body is growing so fast. All right.
Miss Laws,
Yep.
were you supposed to share your screen?
Yeah. Am I not sharing it?
Yeah, you were never sharing it the whole time.
Sorry. That's why I thought you'd be so embarrassed. Here I go. I'm sharing it now. Okay, here we go. Get ready. Here come the pictures. I wondered why there was no giggling. So that was the males. Now we're going to go through the females. Most females start to go through puberty a year or two before males. So often people who are born with female parts go through puberty first. You'll notice the girls sometimes get taller in class, and that's kind of true of our class. If you've noticed, a lot of the girls are very tall. That's because they start earlier than the boys. Females often start between 8 and 13 years of age. Just like males, female will suddenly start to grow taller and her body will begin to change shape. Weight and height may increase, her hips may get wider as well. Her breasts will start to become a little bigger too. And like males, females will start to grow hair under their arms, on their legs, and between their legs. Sometimes after these changes start, a female will get a menstrual period. That's like your period. Here's what happens. Females are born with 2 ovaries. So these ovaries are inside your body. You might have heard about somebody getting ovarian cancer, actually. Oh, they don't show them. Oh, here they are down here. These little ovaries down here at the bottom. Those are where the eggs are being made. So when you're born, you have all the eggs you're going to have for your whole life. Just before the ovaries send out eggs, the uterus, or the place where the baby grows, is getting ready for the eggs by making a thick lining full of the blood needed to feed the baby. But if the egg is not fertilized, it doesn't need all that lining, so it sheds it, and that's why girls bleed every month. The lining simply falls away, and the wasted blood comes out little by little through the vagina. The bleeding is called the menstrual period, and it's a bummer, but you have to deal with it. And this year they passed a law in Oregon because they decided that it was a right to every woman to have access to products that will help you with that. And so you'll notice in the bathrooms now, there are always free pads and tampons and things like that for women who are having this happen. Even though the menstrual period may seem like a lot of blood, it's really not very much at all. Females should know that once you may get your period once or twice, and then it may stop. This is really normal. Sometimes it takes a while for your body to get into the habit of sending out an egg every month. Once ovulation begins, ovulation means shedding an egg every month, where the egg leaves the ovary and waits in the fallopian tube. So that's, the egg goes through this tube right here. This is called the fallopian tube. And then this is the uterus. This is where a baby grows. Let's see. It means you can get pregnant once you start shedding blood. It doesn't mean, of course, that you should. You have many more years of growing up to do first, but you need to be careful. Most females feel a little different just before and during their periods. That's how they know that it is coming. Some have aches or cramps in their lower belly. Others might have backaches or say their breasts feel sore. For most females, these problems are no big deal. They can still ride bikes, go swimming, run around like they always do. However, there are a few who have really bad cramps, and you should talk to your doctor about that. Also, I know that my daughter now takes something that helps her not have a period every month. So they have all sorts of new things out there that have made that different. All right, let me go back to my lesson now that we've talked about that. Here it is. All right. So again, we were talking about hormones, these messengers that are telling your body to start changing. Hormones regulate lots of things in your body, including your body temperature, how our cells use sugar, starches, fats, and proteins. Hormones even regulate the chemicals your blood needs to stay healthy. The hormones in your body are produced in your endocrine glands, G-L-A-N-D-S, which are special organs and tissues. These endocrine glands are found throughout your body and are linked together to form the endocrine system. They are responsible for many of the things we experience during puberty, physical and emotional. Hormones are secreted from your endocrine glands into your blood. As your blood circulates, the hormones reach their targets, other organs and tissues, and signal those organs to do certain things. As we talk about some of the glands in the endocrine system, locate and label each one on your handout. You don't have a handout. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is called the pituitary gland. It's a pea-sized gland located at the base of your brain. You can't really feel it. It's often called the master gland because it secretes 12 hormones that regulate your hormone production in your other glands. The pituitary also produces the body's major growth hormone, which triggers bone and muscle growth and development. One of the first signs of puberty is you may notice a growth spurt. All right, the next thing we have is the thyroid gland. You might have heard your parents talk about somebody who has problems with their thyroid gland. The thyroid gland is in charge of how fast your body burns fuel or food. The thyroid gland can make people gain a lot of weight or lose a lot of weight. So it just depends how your thyroid is working and if it's working well. It's in charge of your metabolism, which is how fast you burn food. So one thing that happens to you during puberty is that thyroid can speed up or slow down. For some reason, in my experience, boys often get a really fast metabolism and eat like horses and don't gain any weight. And girls often gain quite a bit of weight during puberty for a few years. It just is the way your body is working. I think your body's getting ready for you to, like, you know, in nature, if you were an animal, you'd be at the point where you'd be maturing to have a baby. So your body's getting ready to fatten you up a little bit to have a baby. Think about a parent or a caregiver whose kid is only allowed a number of sweets, not too much, just the right amount. There is a gland that does just that. It regulates the sugar in your body. This gland is called the pancreas, and it is a large gland located below the lungs. My doctor just told me that my pancreas is a little bit lazy, and so it doesn't process sugars properly. So I'm not supposed to be eating sweets, or I could end up diabetic. So I have to be very careful, like the carbohydrates and the sweets that I eat, which is a bummer. I don't like it at all. The pancreas secretes hormones called insulin. You might have heard of that one too. Maybe you know someone who has to give themselves insulin shots because they have diabetes. This works to keep the level of sugar or glucose in your blood pretty much the same. Glucose is a sugar and your body's main fuel, so you need some in your body. Remember that during puberty, your body requires more because you're growing so fast. People who lack insulin have a disease called diabetes, or people who don't process insulin correctly. A diabetic cannot use sugar normally, so the sugar builds up in the blood, and this is really hard on your body. There's two kinds of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. Both types are affected by the pancreas. So the kind that I might get if I'm not careful is type 2, if I eat too many sweets. Give students time to fill in their handout. Okay, can anyone tell us the name of the gland that is attached to the top of your kidneys? I don't even know that. The adrenal glands. So here's a new one, the adrenal glands. You may not know their names, but you've certainly felt the hormones flowing from these glands whenever you were afraid. What does your body do when you're really scared? Well, your heart rate goes up, your breathing gets shallower and faster, and you sweat, right? That's your adrenal glands functioning. All of these reactions and others come from the adrenal glands. Some help your body adjust to stress by raising your blood pressure and your heartbeat so that you can act fast. So that's the fight or flight reaction. Like if you were being chased by, I don't know, a dinosaur or a tiger, you'd need to be able to run fast. So that's why you get all excited, right? To protect yourself. Others control the balance of chemicals in your body. Still others help regulate the sexual characteristics just before puberty. So as you look, if you look in your worksheet or in your notebook thing, if you've been able to access the Body Shop through Clever, you'll see the male and female figures, and you can notice the glands that we've talked about. They're labeled. Boys and girls, well, males and females, or people labeled males and females, share some of the same hormones, but the levels are different. During puberty, the body starts to produce these hormones in large amounts. Males start to produce a lot of testosterone. This can make them angry, really aggressive, big risk takers, and a little bit of estrogen, while females start to produce a lot more estrogen and only a little bit of testosterone. Just before puberty, a hormone from these words are hard, you guys, your hypothalamus, a part of your brain, stimulates your pituitary gland. Remember, that's that gland in your brain. Your pituitary, in turn, secretes special hormones that tell you to start developing your organs for reproduction. Like they're telling your body that it's nearly ready to have babies, even though I'm not recommending that until you're much, 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 much older. The ovaries and the testes, so your reproductive organs, regulate growth and changes that happen during puberty. Signals like all the parts that we talked about that start to grow, the hair that grows on your body in weird places, your reproductive organs, some parts of you getting bigger, others getting smaller. In this lesson, we learned about glands and hormones and the role they play. What do you think if your glands and hormones don't work properly could happen? Well, for example, if the thyroid gland doesn't secrete enough of the hormone, you could gain weight or you could feel really tired. So again, if you ever feel like you're just really not feeling good, you need to talk to your doctor. It's important to take care of your health so that your glands will work properly now and in the future. As you think about how important your glands and hormones are to your growth and development, what can you do to be safe and healthy and have respect for your body? Let me list some things that you can do, some safety rules, so that you take great care of your body. You need to eat nutritious foods. Like I just said, Ms. Laws, I just ate like a cup of chocolate chips. That was really bad for me and I shouldn't have done it. And now I'm drinking water to try to be more healthy. Do not smoke, don't vape, don't do drugs, don't drink alcohol. They're now coming out with lots and lots of information that even little bits of alcohol are not good for us. And I drink wine, but I try not to drink very much very often. I will ask for help if I am not feeling well. So if you get depressed or sad, that is a common thing that happens during puberty. Talk to your parents, talk to your teachers, talk to somebody if you're feeling sad. Brush and floss your teeth, always good advice. Take your medication if you are on medication. Exercise is a huge way. It not only controls your weight and your body and your muscles, but it makes you feel happier. When you exercise, you get this dopamine. It's a hormone that's secreted in your body, I think, some sort of chemical, and it makes you feel happy. Be the healthiest you can be and talk kindly to yourself. As your body's changing, it's easy to like freak out. Like my daughter freaked out when she started to develop breasts and she wore like big baggy things and felt really ashamed and embarrassed, which is silly because that's just part of growing up. I know it's hard when your body changes and maybe it's changing in a way you don't like, but try to love your body just for being healthy. And then over time, you can make decisions about your body. It's important to tell a parent or guardian if you're sick or injured and to get the health care you need. It's important to go to the doctor regularly. Throughout this unit, we'll continue to discuss ways in which we can demonstrate responsibility by taking care of our bodies. And that is it for today. We talked about glands and hormones and changes and puberty. Lots of fun. More fun tomorrow. And if you have any